Hi guys, and welcome to Mighty Kiddos. Today I have a special topic for you guys, and it's a topic of open mouth breathing. So in this video, I will be discussing the most common causes of open mouth breathing. I will also cover the results of open mouth breathing and what you can do to alleviate this and correct it when possible. If this sounds interesting to you, please stay tuned as we dive right in. First thing I want to say, guys, is that open mouth breathing is not normal, it is not biological, and it is not a healthy way of breathing. So the main reason why kids are breathing through their mouth is because there is a blockage in their airway. If this is not addressed early enough or appropriately, over time it can cause big problems like sleep apnea and other problems in their growth. So the first step to do is figure out, why is this happening, right? So one of the things that it could be causing open mouth breathing is allergies. As simple as that. If your child is allergic to pet dander or other things, it can cause an increase of mucus and therefore block their airway. The other reason that your child could be breathing through their mouth is congestion. So it could be congestion due to a cold, or again, due to allergies. And with the congestion, there's an increase of mucus again, therefore blocking the airways. We have to keep in mind and remember the baby's airways and nostrils are so small. So just a tiny bit of increase in boogers or phlegm can really obstruct their way of breathing. If this is something that's happening to your child due to colds, it could be a super simple solution as to just, using a nasal syringe to suction out the mucus. It could be as simple as that. However, there could be an anatomical reason why your child is breathing through the mouth, and that is mainly due to enlarged tonsils or swollen adenoids. These two block the baby's airways, and this could be due to allergies. Maybe they get swollen because of the allergens, or it could be genetic. So maybe it's common in your family. So it's always important to keep that in mind and to keep an eye on that as well for your baby. The fourth thing that could also be happening to your child is a deviated septum, and that is that the bone and the cartilage between the nostrils could collapse or be deformed, therefore constricting the way the air flows through their nose and forcing open mouth breathing. This deviated septum is something that can happen in the womb. So there are some babies that are just born this way. So it is really important to keep an eye on how your baby is breathing since day one. The last reason that could be causing open mouth breathing is tongue tie. So tongue tie, what it is a tongue restriction. So when babies breathe through the mouth, their tongue suctions to the top of the roof, therefore allowing airflow through the nostrils. When there is a tongue tie and therefore the tongue is restricted, the tongue does not do that suction to the roof of your mouth, and therefore the mouth opens and then forces open mouth breathing. Tongue tie can cause not just problems breathing, but it can also cause issues with breastfeeding. So if you're noticing that your child is not gaining weight or has some issues latching, or your baby doesn't, move the tongue up so much, or can't pull it out too much, it could be a reason why your child is open mouth breathing, right? So just keep an eye on that, and you could always ask your pediatrician to take a look at their mouth if you're not sure if he or she has a tongue tie. So now what happens? What is the result of open mouth breathing? As I said, this is not a normal or typical way of breathing. So there are some pretty alarming consequences of open mouth breathing. The number one thing that happens is that our nostrils, right, we have cilia in there. So we have that hair that traps and filters the air that we breathe. Without air going through that way, we're then taking air in through our mouth, and that changes our first action of filtration, right? So instead of our nostrils, now we're using our tonsils and our adenoids to filter the air that goes into the lungs, and that can cause over time the tonsils and the adenoids to swell up even more and then constrict your baby's airways even more. When this happens for a long time, babies are prone to have, or children in general are prone to have tonsillitis, which is just infections in the tonsils. So we really want to correct that as soon as we can, right? Another result of open mouth breathing is that it can lower the oxygen concentration in our blood. Over time, this may lead again to other issues, from heart issues to increased blood pressure. So we really want to address this problem as soon as possible. Last and final result or outcome of open mouth breathing is the lack of deep sleep. So children that breathe through their open mouth, they don't have quality sleep. Basically, the amount of time that they're spent in deep sleep is not as long as those kids that breathe through their nose. As you know, for children, sleep is crucial, right? It aids in proper development, concentration, and their growth. So we want to make sure that kids are not only getting sleep, but that they're getting quality sleep. Now that we've discussed all this information, what can we do to address these issues? How can we fix it? That is the most important question here, right? And the first thing is talk to your child's pediatrician. We want to make sure that we are not missing something. Your pediatrician can order an array of tests to see if there's anatomical issues, if there's perhaps we need to, aid the child in some other way. So first talk to your child's pediatrician. Now, if you think this is just circumstantial, it just happens once in a while, and then there are some stuff you could do to allow your child to breathe through the nose. The first thing is using a humidifier. So humidifier, what it does is that it puts more humidity into the air, therefore getting rid of the dry air that causes more production of mucus in our nose. Now, if that's not working, the other thing you could do is just simple suctioning of mucus in the child's nose, right? Just use a nasal syringe, to suction it out, because babies and infants are not able to blow their nose or get rid of mucus and phlegm the way adults do. The other thing is using an air filter. Air filter clears the air around the child, possibly removing allergens that could be causing irritations in the child's airway. So air filters really just improve the air quality around the child. So that's important. And another thing you could do is just by removing allergens around. So if you have pets, clean and vacuum regularly to get rid of the pet dander. If somebody smokes in the house or a family member smokes, require them to smoke outside. Anytime that they come close to the child, have them change their clothing so it doesn't affect them, and open the windows and let some fresh air in to circulate the air. And another thing that we could do to help move around the mucus is using nasal sprays. So nasal sprays or nasal drops are super simple to use. They help thin out the mucus so it's easier to drain out. Sometimes even after using a nasal spray or drops, kids still cannot get rid of the mucus by themselves. So again, we do the suctioning with a nasal syringe. Always use the nasal spray or drops as directed, okay? And be very careful as to how often you're suctioning the mucus out, because suctioning too much and keeping the nose too dry will then increase more mucus. So it could be a vicious cycle. Just find that sweet spot of balance with that. Last and most invasive thing that can happen or that may need to be done in order to correct this issue is surgery. So there are some cases where the adenoids need to be removed and the tonsils, or just fixing the deviated septum. So that is a possibility or something that can be needed. But like I said, this is why it's key to speak to your pediatrician to make sure that you and your pediatrician are taking the best steps possible to provide better sleep for your child and more quality sleep. These are the most important ways that you can have a healthy airway so we can all breathe through our nose. So thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. I hope you found this content helpful. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you learned something new. Thank you so much for your time, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.